Welcome to the UltraNurse Podcast. This is where we run long and work even longer. I'm your host, Brad, a flight nurse, paramedic, dad of 3, coach, and mid-of-the-pack ultra runner, just trying to figure this whole endurance thing out 1 mile at a time. This podcast is about running, especially running long, all while balancing work, family, and everything else that comes with real life. Never so, but anyways, yeah, super cool to meet you. Follow you for like how long now? Like 3 months? We've been friends on Instagram or something.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. Do you go by Nicholas?
I go by Nico, but my name's Niko SteinbRUNNER. I'm a cardiac surgical tech from Springfield, Ohio, and I love big adventures.
Dude, I think we've been friends on like Instagram for like 3 or 4 months, and I just noticed your last name is Bob because it's Steinbrunner, runner.
Yeah.
Caps.
Yeah.
I didn't notice
perfect.
it until like just a little bit ago.
Yeah, my coworkers told me you should like capitalize all the runner in your last name for your Instagram title, and I'm like, that's a really cool idea. So that's what I did. But yeah,
Dude, that's awesome.
Born with a good one. It's a long last name, but it's good.
What is it? Is it like, what nationality would that come from?
It's German. It
awesome.
means, I think it means like stone well or something.
Totally. That's pretty cool. So when I was hurt, like the last time, I know I'm like broken foot every 3 years. I went back and did my heritage or whatever you call it. And like I'm come from my mom's maiden name's Belkin, and then my last name's Sout. And we're like right on the northern border of Germany by Holland. So that'd be where I came from.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on the southern side of Germany near Switzerland in Basel.
No. So that's why you're good at climbing.
No, I was born I was actually born in Germany, but it was on an air base over there. My parents were both in the Air Force. So
cool.
My heritage is German, but it's I'm not actually German.
Nice. Well, how are you feeling?
I feel good. Was it like 5-6 days removed from Cocodona? Recovery's going well. I finally got like a full night of sleep. I feel like my system's always really fried after these things, and it kind of takes a moment to find equilibrium. But yeah, we're bouncing back, and I think I'm gonna go for my like first real run, and just test out the legs after this call and see and get things rolling. Get back into.
Dude, that's nuts. I can't even fathom 200. I've done hundreds. I can't fathom 250s.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. But I'm gonna be honest. I mean, the distance really doesn't scare me anymore. This is my 6th 200 miler, and you can only do what you can, and you just stay in the mile you're in, and you appreciate the highs and lows, and you just kind of embrace the moment you're in, and just find your way forward, I guess.
So you've done the Cocodona 250 3 times, right? How many? So what other 200s have you done?
So I've done Summit 200 2 times, and I did there was a canceled 200 miler across the state of Missouri. It's called the KD 225. It's by the same people who do Summit. Unfortunately, a week before the race, they had a permitting issue, so they canceled the race. But I mean, it's just it's a dirt path. It's a rails to trail path, so there's like nothing to it. So there was a dozen of us who were just like, well, we're just gonna do the race anyway.
Dude, that's tough. So I almost think, because we have like one of them old railroad paths too here, and I've talked to people who've done Tunnel Hill, and I almost give me hills. The one guy was like, dude, Tunnel Hill was worse than any hilly 100 I've ever done. He said his hip flexors are absolutely trash because there's just no change.
No, yeah, you're beating on the same muscles forever, and it's it's brutal. I don't do flat races, like long ultras anymore. Like that's just you gotta have some variety. You gotta switch gears a little bit. It's too brutal.
100%. So like I was following your Cocodona 250 and I had the biggest case of FOMO. This and so I can't even just like so you've been back 3 times and like what is it that brings you back to that race?
I think I think for me, it's like, it's just the most beautiful 200 miler, hands down. It's like, but also it's like the most competitive. Like if you want the Western states of the 200-mile kind of distance,
Mm,
because like, I think the cool thing about ultras is like, there's so much variety and like
mm,
choose your own adventure. Like there's the 50Ks, and those are run totally different than the 100 milers, and those are run totally different from the
mm,
200 milers. But in like the context of like the 200-mile space, Cocodona is really the Western states of 200 miler. So like if you want to learn and grow and be around the best in the world, I mean that's where you got to go. So that's what's a big draw for me is there's being like a student of the sport, and like every year, every race I try to like do something new and try to learn over last year, improve as an athlete. And
mm.
no better place to go than Cocodona 250. If I wanted to win races and stuff, and like I could do smaller like local things, but um, I there's just something about being on the start line with these incredible like superhuman people that it pushes you so much further than like a local trail marathon or something like that. Not that there's anything wrong with those races. Those races are great, but like it's cool to duke it out with the best and grow in the sport.
Yeah, and you had a great race, dude. I mean,
Yeah,
like
thank
literally, you were because I was following along, and I'm like, holy smokes, you were up there,
you.
like,
Yeah.
so like, congratulations again. I mean, I think I mean, just finishing that race is like, hey, you have my just starting it, you have my utmost respect. I mean, to challenge yourself like that. I mean, because you're like on something like that, your risk of failure is way out there. So like just lining up, you have my utmost respect, but finishing it. And then I think you did it like sub 90 again, which is that's fast to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is
Thanks.
super fast. I don't know, just kind of like so like where do you even start? Like, what does your training look like? Like, cause me, I'm primarily 100 mile guy, you know what I mean? But like, how would you say like your training for like a 200 differs from like a 100 training plan?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of it is you gotta build the engine you're trying to drive, like build the engine of the car you're trying to play with. So
Mhm.
a lot of it is the big focus of my training is on zone two, um, and whatnot. You want to, just have like a massive foundation of just like easier effort that is at like a steady pace. For this training block specifically, because I live in Ohio and it's extremely flat, I've been
Mhm.
adding in like 4 days of Stairmaster a week, and I'll just do like an hour at zone two, whatever my body gives me, whatever pace.
Mhm.
And I think that's been super helpful. But outside of that Stairmaster, I average about like 70 miles a week.
Hmm.
Um, and then I had the Boston Marathon in right before Cocodona, so I tried to do some speed work for that as well. And I think all of it um, kind of work together. I mean, fitness is fitness, so
Mhm.
I don't try to overcomplicate things. I just try to enjoy the process,
Mhm.
and whatever to me sounds like the most fun. Um, because at the end of the day, like you do so many miles alone and whatnot, they have to be interesting to you. So
Uh,
my big goal is, just have fun and do activities and stuff that make me excited to get out on the trails. And if I'm excited about it, I'll do more of it. So yeah,
do,
that's the goal.
do you have a lot of trails out there? Do you have a lot of trails in Ohio, like where you're at?
N- Um, you have to drive for a lot of them. For me, I do a lot of
Oh.
road running, kind of out of necessity. I do try to get out like on Sundays. I'll try to get out and do like a big trail day, but most trails around here in Ohio, you have to do like a lot of loops because they're like maybe 5 or 6 miles long. So you're just like,
Okay.
you leave all your stuff at the car and you just do loops on repeat. Um,
Mhm.
and that's I do that for it's nice to do that on Sundays for like my own sanity, just to get off
Mhm.
pavement. But I do like pavement as well. It doesn't bother me too much.
Mhm.
And the nice thing is I live so close to my work that I'll run to work in the morning and then I'll do my run after work, kind of exploring Springfield and just kind of hanging out. And that works pretty well.
Nice. I always found it kind of like, because I think as like, I mean, I assume you probably are primarily a trail runner too, or consider yourself like a racing trail runner, right? And I always found it kind of fascinating because like in my mind, in my head, I do have access to a lot of trails. I'm right in Dubuque, Iowa, if you don't know where that is. It's kind of right where Iowa, Illinois, and Wisconsin all meet. We call it the tri-states, right on the Mississippi River. So I do have
Nice.
access to trails. And so like I mean, we got like in my park where I primarily run at, we could do like 20-mile loops. So that's more than enough, to keep interested and you're not going like totally crazy doing 5-mile loops or whatever. But like hearing you and then seeing others that are doing like these huge, long, like rugged trail races and primarily training on pavement. It's just because you don't see a lot of like the influencers, well, other than Andy Glaze, pounding like a ton of pavement and then going and doing like these ultimate trail runs. Everybody thinks like you have to be on the trail to get this
Yeah.
stuff done. And so that's like reassuring to hear some like a good as runner as you are to be training on pavement and then be able to go and do these gnarly, like super kind of technical trail races.
Yeah. I think for me when I was like kind of first getting into like Cocodona and like Summit and whatnot, like I had a lot of imposter syndrome because like I felt like I had to live out west in order to like do well and
Hmm.
push hard on these trails and whatnot. But I think as long as you have enough to where you're comfortable with like the mechanics of trail running and you understand like the kind of movement style and whatnot, you don't really
Hmm.
forget that. You
Hmm.
and you don't have to like overthink it. Like, I mean, for me, for a lot of it is when I first got into this, I was kind of like scared of the distance and whatnot. But now having run 6 of these, I mean, they don't ever get less hard. I think this time I said this is the hardest thing I've ever done, and I say that every single time, but so it never gets easier. But you do like it, like I don't get as nervous about it as I do anymore. And like
Yeah.
uh you don't have to get out on trails. Like if you have good fitness and you build a good foundation to where you're confident moving on trails, like um you can you don't have to do exclusively trails. Like I mean, look, even if you look at like Dan Green who won Cocodona last year,
Hmm.
he's a big road runner. He does a ton of stuff road in Huntington, West Virginia. Or Arlen Glick, who's from Ohio, the previous year he crushed it, and he went out to Arizona early to kind of train on a lot of those trails. But like still, it just goes to show, like I mean, he trained a lot in where he lives in Ohio, and he got like third at Western States. So like there's this big myth about you have to like live out west and you have to live on the trails. And sure, those are like advantages, but just being a good runner, you'll get most of the way there.
Yeah, I was just reading about because I'm gonna attempt one at altitude this year, and I was just reading about like, oh, like the myth that you have to like live in the mountains, and what it does, yeah, they're acclimated, right? But it doesn't do really anything for their fitness per se. Um,
Yeah,
but the main benefit that they have is that they know how it feels, right? So like when I go out west and I go up at altitude, I'm not, I'm like, well, I don't know how this feels. And that's a different feeling for me, right? Whereas
for
they're
sure.
like, yeah, this sucks. I'm used to this.
Right.
So I mean, if that's kind of like similarities there, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like the past 2 years I've done Summit, I've gotten altitude sickness both times, and you just kind of it does act a little bit as a governor that by the time I finished Summit, I felt like I had kind of acclimated enough, but like going into it, I always felt like under acclimated, but you just you can't let you can't let these things like hold you back because
Mm-hmm.
you could still do incredible things on 90%. You could do incredible things on
Mm-hmm.
50% of what you're
Mm-hmm.
capable of. So, you know, you just got to work with like be in the mile you're in and like work with, you
Mm-hmm.
know, the package you've got. And if the best
Mm-hmm.
you got is a waddle, then make that waddle work.
How much waddling did you do out of Cocodona this year? I mean, okay, so I've never done that, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't. So like, kind of just walk like. So did you go out there? Did you have like what was your crew like? Like, did you go out there solo? Oh, how big was your crew? How many did you have any pacers, or how many pacers did you have lined up? Or
Yeah, so this year it was a little bit different. I had my wife act as crew chief, and my dad and mom were out there, and my wife's brother and his wife came out to help me as well. And they're they're great. They're not the strongest runners, so I was only able to utilize them on like shorter sections, um,
Mhm.
which there's not really very many of them out there at Coco.
Mm,
And unfortunately, something that kind of uh, was a little bit of growing pains at this race is because it was my wife's first time. She missed me at a couple aid stations, and that kind of like threw a wrench in things. And
oof.
yeah, so she's like, "I'm 30 minutes out. Just wait, I'll be right there." And I'm just like, "I can't wait. I gotta go."
Mm,
So, but we can't we I'm proud of how we kind of kept a positive mindset and like we pivoted well. You just kind of like, but that's kind of the thing. The biggest takeaway I've learned from like this year, every year has a big takeaway, but the biggest takeaway I learned from this year is that things going wrong in a race this long is not a glitch, it's a feature. And no matter
mhm.
how good your plan is, something will like it's only so good until you get punched in the face, and then you just kind of have to, what do I do to recover from this? And
Mm,
I think we did a good job. I was on pace for 72 hours up until Sedona. Um, and then yeah, things were going good. And then I think leaving Schnebly Hill, there was a 13-mile section, and I think I left it a little bit prematurely, but before I was fully like recovered and bounced back.
mm,
And I went out on that section, and it was only like 64 degrees, but it felt like it was like 105 because I think I was overheating and starting to get like the symptoms of like heat stroke and whatnot. So for that section, I was like taking my shirt off and dipping it in mud puddles to kind of, and putting it on to cool myself off. But uh, but I was so fried when I came into the aid station. Had that section been like a mile longer, um, when I came into the aid station, I had a full body cramp, like a whole body Charlie horse, and it was just like
mm.
agonizing. Had that section been like a mile longer, I would have had to call for extraction, and I wouldn't have been able to
Mm,
finish the race. But yeah,
dang,
like
dude.
that's but that's just an example. Like, things go wrong, and so we laid me
Mhm,
down for a little bit, and from there we kind of pivoted the expectations and goals to make sure that I could still finish the race.
mhm.
And yeah, you just kind of you roll with the punches. Um, but overall, got to be super happy with it. I cut an hour off my time, and um, I learned a lot in the process. And yeah, race went really well.
That's incredible. And like that was one of the things I was gonna ask you about. Like just thinking about, I'm like, oh, what am I gonna ask Nico here? And was like, okay, so like, I've been in them situations too, but I didn't know how you would manage it because I know going into that, and I was like, I can't wait to watch this guy because you put it out there like, hey, my goal is 72 hours. And that's what I love about you. I love that. I love when people put like because that's exposing yourself, right? And you're
Yeah.
like, I'm doing this. I'm 72 hours is my end goal, right? And that's, hey, call me crazy because not a lot of people have ever done that. And so then when you lose something like that, how do you stay like, because that would be so easy, right, for your mind just to go, what the heck, we're done. How are we going to finish this? Because I mean, looking at it, that would have been what, mile 160,
Yeah.
and you still have 90 miles, over 90 miles to go. And
Yeah.
so how did you kind of like work through like that mental? Because I'm sure it kind of was like, oh, dang it, that's lost. So now how do we get through that? Like, what was kind of your like mindset there? Not to talk about like anything negative. I hate doing that, but
Yeah.
like, yeah.
No, yeah, I think it's like super important. I think you just kind of have to um for me when I went into the race, I framed I tried to frame things in a healthy mindset of um I just want to do my best out there. Yeah, I put this big scary goal out there for everyone to see. And there's
Mhm.
like, and in moments where I was like, I need to put the gas on, I would like lean into that. But in moments where like I know the body is under a ton of strain and it doesn't need the extra pressure, I would just take that pressure off myself. And I think compartmentalizing things is kind of something through my work I've kind of like learned how to do and whatnot and that's kind of one of my strengths. I I really didn't put a lot of emphasis on it. It like the time goal is something I'm really passionate about, but it doesn't define me as a runner or as a
Mhm.
person. Um, what defines me as a person is that I finish what I start, um,
Mhm.
and that I'm willing to um, push myself to my limit. And unfortunately, due to some kind of hydration mistakes and whatnot, I pushed myself into a position where I had to shift my goals and my mindset in order to kind of recover and save my race. Because when I called my crew coming into that aid station, I was like, "Hey guys, we need to figure out how to save this race. I'm in a really bad spot." Um,
Mhm.
so I think it's important to kind of be secure in yourself and know who you are and know what you want out of the experience first and foremost. But in all things, you got to be show gratitude and be grateful because, yeah, I'm doing something that's hard out there, but my crew is, going above and beyond to meet me all over God's creation to, you know,
Right. Yeah.
bring me snacks and bring me fuel and look out for me. And, you know, um, they're incredible. They did a great job. There's a lot of passion there. So there's you just can't you gotta who you are is more important than um the race, and who you are is a reflection of what you do. So um
Mhm.
and that's something that's also like
Yeah.
really cool about these races. I'm sorry if I'm rambling, but like you never really get to see the person you are in real life because we're all putting on these filters and masks. But when you have 80 miles on your legs and you are stripped down to your base components, that's when you really get to take a look in the mirror and find out this is the kind of person I am. And in that moment, you get to reflect and be like, is this, am I proud of this person or not? And every time I've gotten to that point, I'm very happy with who I find there.
100%. That's kind of like my same mentality too, is I've had races before where I'm like, like I was listening to somebody talk recently about the poor me attitude, and I've fallen victim to that. And then it
Yeah.
just sucks when you're in that. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, first off, I try to anymore just laugh at the situation, because I'm like, look at this
Yeah.
situation that I put myself in. It's funny. Like, what we do is
Right.
kind of funny in a way. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
out there and we're challenging ourselves and finding ourselves and what. It's really funny in some sense too, because it's kind of a ridiculous sport if you look at it. And I'm like,
It is
these
ridiculous.
humans. I mean, these humans are running 250 miles in the desert. You know what I mean? And it's just, so first off, it's funny, but yeah, I totally get that. The gratitude thing is immense. Like, we get to do this, we get to go out there and see all this beauty and to challenge ourselves. So I totally get that. And I just want to say again that, like, it's so. it's such an admirable thing to me. Like it's inspiring. Like when I hear somebody talk mighty goals and like well, how you just described how you handled that, that is more it's more impressive to me like that than to be like to actually do like that mindset and talking about it in that aspect of you doing it in like 71:59, right? To me anyways. Not to keep talking about that, but anyways, that's kind of how I view things, I guess. But coming like I guess like when we're gonna like talking about like the heat stroke and all that. So like I was trying to explain to friends because I'm like a princess nurse, and I'm like sometimes it's a good thing, but sometimes like your medical background, right?
Yeah,
Do we overthink things sometimes? You know what I mean? Like because things that some of the lay public don't.
yeah. Like overthink things in terms of like racing or in terms of like life. What do you mean?
Like the medical aspect of it, be like, oh no, like says you work in the cardiac lab, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you know a little bit about electrolyte imbalances and all this stuff. So like, do you overthink things as far as like a medical perspective sometimes?
No, I tend to go I think real simply. I don't overthink anything really. I like what you said in a previous podcast where you talked about working in healthcare. It's all about problem solving and working. You got to deal with what's right in front of you, what's most urgent, what's most important, and then
Mm-hmm.
you can kind of work down the list. To me, that's kind of how I approach everything. I don't overcomplicate anything. Everything is okay. What needs to be done and what needs to be done first, and we're gonna attack it in a systematic order. And kind of how that applies to like ultra running for me is like, you know, oh, my feet hurt. Can I do something about it? I can take Tylenol. Oh, it didn't help. Okay, there's nothing else I can do about it. I'm not going to worry about it. So move on to the next thing. Um, and then I just kind of like I have like kind of goals for like certain segments of like how much I want to eat and how much I want to drink, and then I just try to do my best to execute the plan I created. But for the most part, I mean, you can get really lost in the weeds trying to do math and like
Mm-hmm.
trying to overthink and optimize when like I don't care about being optimized for anything. I just care about um like being in a good rhythm, moving well in the flow state. And that kind of applies to like to running, that applies to work, like um you just yeah.
Yeah, I
Just-
guess it was kind of a stupid question, if there is one, but because I got some friends that work it, and they're just like, it's always, like something, right? They're always trying to solve something, like, oh, is this happening in my body or is this going wrong? So I was like, yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at there. But yeah, so as far as like your nutrition, how did that go? Like, what do you do for yours? Do you do gels and carbs, like drinks and stuff like that, or?
yeah, it's going back to the other thing really quick. Like it's not a stupid question. Like I mean, you're putting your body through such horrible like strain that it's easy to freak out. Like for me, I vomited multiple times when I was out there at Coco this year, and that's just because I was pushing myself so hard. And every time I vomited, I was like, oh, well, that's unfortunate. I now I got to put those calories back in, and then I just kept
I
going.
love
It's
that.
like it's like, well, what are you gonna do about it? Like, oh well, it's gone. The
Dude,
calories are
I
gone.
love that saying. I absolutely love when people that. Oh, how unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's so
I-
great. Oh my gosh.
Moving on to your
Uh,
next question, though, in terms of like calories and stuff, I'm playing with these like precision 90 and 300 gram gels,
yeah.
and those are, I think, the best like gels recently. Just because like the big packets allow you to carry so
Mhm.
many less gels and less trash. And the nice thing about those is you can just kind of get a good grip on them and just squeeze. And
Hmm.
but what a lot of like my problem with gels is like I get palate fatigue. It's like when it like touches your tongue for too long and stuff, and then you get irritated by the taste of gels. With the
Uh,
squeeze, you can kind of shoot it past your palate
uh,
and then wash it down with water. So then you get the calories in, but not the same level of palate fatigue with other stuff. And then as I transition into like later on in the race, the further I get, the more it starts out mostly gels, and then I transition to half food, half gels, and then like towards the end of the race, I'm mostly eating like real food, and then like a
okay.
couple gels, just because like your body craves like actual like actual nutrition. You can't have astronaut food the whole time. It's too
Yeah,
long.
that's what like so like I'm gonna be doing my first multi-day one, and because
Yeah,
all my hundreds have been pretty much right around 24 hours. So, and to be honest with you, I'm kind of a dumb runner, and I did not do gels. I just don't like gels. So all my 100s, I'm like, I'll just eat. We were getting to aid stations every hour basically. So I'm like, I'll just eat food then and pack a few gummy bears along, the way for me, and it's always got me through. I probably haven't been optimized as far as like my carbs per hour. I've never really paid attention to it. I'm like, well, I'll just eat a quesadilla at this one, some pickles, whatnot. And so I transitioned to the precision and the P90s and 30s and whatnot. And oh my gosh, my training, it's just like night and day. Like when you're
yeah,
actually like putting like I'm like, what is this stuff? Like feel great. And so I'm like, why didn't I do this sooner? But that's what somebody was telling me. They're like, yeah, after about a day, because this one's gonna take me at least 40 some hours. And they're like, yeah, after about 24 hours, man, you're gonna be screaming for real food.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's
So
yeah, Ouray. I that race looks crazy. So
it it's gonna
you're
be
gonna have the most
it's
incredible
gonna
event.
be a hike.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a hike. So it's gonna be, I mean, so I was planning on, I had some like big goals, like for me anyways. I'm a mid of the pack guy. And I was gonna try to squeeze it down in the bottom 40s. And I was like, I'm gonna try to run some of the downhills. Like I'm gonna try to, I'm gonna try to gas it a little bit and probably DNF, but regardless. But now I got this foot thing going on, and
yeah,
now it's like, all right, let's just go out. Let's just try to get a buckle. I don't care
for
if it
sure.
takes me 52 hours, whatever. I'm just gonna try to get a buckle. And then next year on a full build, because I can't run for here 4 weeks at least,
Yeah,
which is kind of a problem. So,
yeah,
yeah, but yeah, so that's kind of my plan this year. And then, you know, hey, try to get a buckle, come back next year, see if we could drop an hour or two off or four or whatever. So,
yeah.
but yeah, it's gonna be a different experience because that was one thing I was gonna ask you about too. Is like, dude, what is like your foot? How do you keep your feet good during that long? Like, what's your thing that you do with your foot care?
I foot care in terms what works best for me is Creeper's toe socks. It's a merino wool.
Hmm.
And it's like a great moisture wicking material. I think
Hmm.
it's the best sock material. Um, and then I don't really do lube or anything. I have a couple spots on my feet that I know always get blisters, just kind of like how my foot strikes. So I put a little tape on those spots, but I know it's not going to do much for me. Um,
Hmm.
but besides that, trying to change out the shoes maybe every like 30 to 25 miles, just do like fresh shoes, fresh socks.
Hmm. Nice.
That's gonna be the best thing for you. That that works great. Um, yeah, if you got a good merino wool sock, like I don't lube my feet or anything anymore. I used to, but I find that just a good like fresh, brand new merino wool sock
Mhm.
is like the best thing I found. And then the nice thing
Yeah,
is
I
it's
I
like
use the
less moving
Gingies,
components.
so yeah, yeah. I've never been a lube the foot guy either. I do like put a little KT tape on my two pinky toes because that's where I always have problems, and that seems to
Yeah.
do pretty good for me. But yeah, yeah. I was just wondering. I'm like, I wonder if he tapes his feet. I saw one woman, the way she spent 2 hours taping her feet for the Arizona 300. And that she's like, hey, I have no blisters. And I mean, she was like mummy, her feet were. I'm like, oh my gosh. But whatever works. But yeah, I was wondering what you did with your feet. So
Yeah, my only concern with like excessive taping of the feet in her case would be like constriction, because as your feet begin to swell and stuff, then it's acting like a tourniquet, and I just like
mm,
I don't think that's a great idea, but like obviously she knows her body and like that works well for her, so
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, right. So how much did you sleep on, on your journey?
I ended up sleeping 6 hours, so I had a out for the race. The goal was I had two planned sleeps. I slept 1 hour at Fain Ranch, was like mile 90, like five, and then I slept 1 hour at Sedona, which was mile like 160. And then the goal was to just finish out the race. But like when I had that heat stroke thing, I laid down for 2 hours to kind of get my body back into a normal a rhythm. And then at Fort Tuthill, I ended up laying down for like 3 hours or something. So it was like it ended up being like 6 hours total. But it's the big lesson there is that like I've learned from past races, if you have an aggressive time goal and your goal and you don't sleep much, you can get away with it like 1 or 2 nights. But if you're out suddenly out there for a lot longer than you had planned, you need to start factoring in more sleep, because if you there's no other way to deal with that sleep pressure than to just sleep. And it's easy to get into this mode where you're moving so slow, but you're like, I have to keep moving. And at some point when you can't do a 20-minute mile on like the flats, you need to sleep because you're out there wasting your time. Because just like even like a little nap will just like give you so much more energy to be able to move effectively. Because the difference between like a short jog every mile to cut your mile down from like 20 to 16 minutes is like massive over multiple miles. So um, just trying to find like ways to be more effective and whatnot. But yeah, like if had I known I'd be out there for that long, I would have slept more earlier and whatnot. But
Yeah, that's a wild experience. Like that's the other thing I really can't grasp is because like I'll run 100 miles and after like 20 minutes in a chair, I'm like, how could you like I have a hard time getting to the car. And like you're sleeping for an hour and then you're like, yeah, let's go run another 100 miles.
yeah,
I just don't like how do you get going? Like without the body just locking up.
that's the thing. It does lock up, but you just kind of like motion is lotion, you know? Um,
Mhm.
so just kind of getting moving and just kind of like you do like a couple like startup drills where you just kind of like rev the engine a little bit, where you just kind of try to like um, shuffle for a little bit. And then once the blood kind of comes out of your torso and goes back into your extremities from like the rest and digest session, you kind of you get your rhythm back. The feet really hurt at first, but as you kind of get going, the nerves fall asleep again, and then you're good to go. And then like it's never gonna be as like efficient and um, as pretty form as like when you start running, but if you can kind of find your rhythm again and just kind of get yourself out of that like locked up zone, um, you can move pretty well. But
That's good to
you just
know.
kind of
That's really good to know. I don't know what I'm
yeah,
gonna do because I'm like, oh, what's my sleep? I'm not gonna have a. So my dad crews me on my. He's an old timer and he's like 67. He still can do like a half trail races, like half marathons, which is awesome. I hope I could do that when I'm 67. But he's done
yeah,
ultras before, so he's gonna be crew me out there. He's like, hey, what's your plan for sleep? And I'm like, I don't have one. I'm winging it. I'm gonna wing it,
yeah.
and so. But I was told because they're like, hey, if you can take like 20-minute dirt naps, that'll keep you from locking up or something like that. But I'm in a good position though because I have worked in EMS for like 16 years now. And so I'm probably not going to live very long because of it. But like, I am so used to being like, because I do 24-hour shifts. And
Yeah,
so I'm used to every once in a while get caught. And then I'm up for like 26 hours by the time I get back home.
yeah,
So I kind of, you know what I mean? So I kind of got that coin in my pocket, be like, hey, because on all my, I've never gotten like tired or hallucinated on any of my 100 milers. And one of them, I mean, granted, I wasn't out there for 80 hours, but like you see some people out there at like 2, 3 a.m. and they're gone. Like they're
yeah.
totally, and I like, I hate to sound like a bad guy, but I kind of bask in it. I'm kind of like, I'm like, that's kind of funny. I'm like, I don't feel sorry for you because I'm like, I put my time in on the streets, working EMS. So, but
Yeah.
I've never gotten to that point. So like, this is gonna be a new one for me. So like, yeah, that's why I kind of wanted to ask you about that. Like, how is that sleep getting? I'm like, how long would it take you to fall asleep? Like once you lay down?
Depending on like how tired you are, like like I usually go to the point where I'm like I can fall asleep instantly. Because
Yeah.
you know when like um you lay down, you're gonna be like lights out. Um,
I've
so
I've heard like if you can't fall asleep within like 5 minutes, just to get up and start moving again.
yeah, I agree with
That's
that.
what I've been told. So
Yeah, the only
interesting.
caveat to that is like because you're doing Ouray out in the mountains, I would just be a little careful. Um, maybe sleeping on some of the peaks during the night and whatnot. So like that's just a race because there's so much elevation change and whatnot. You don't want to get caught in a bad spot and need to sleep. It
Uh,
would be my only thought. Because like if you're on like this really technical like summit of a mountain and like you got quite a ways to go before you get to your crew vehicle or whatnot, and you're above tree line, so it's like extra cold. That'd be my only
mm,
concern. So if you know you're going to go into a long, hard section, maybe trying to like get a quick dirt nap on the way up to kind of reset your mind before going into it. Another thing I did differently this year is I experimented with like dosing heavier on creatine, and I think that worked really well. It helped with like mental focus. So like going into night one and night two, I right after um right as like the sunset, I took like 15 milligrams of creatine,
mm,
and I felt like that really helped with the mental focus and whatnot because I usually get really like fuzzy at night, and on top of like caffeine and stuff, I think that helped a lot with staying focused. So that's another
dude, that's an
tricky.
awesome. I'm glad you brought that up because I totally forgot about that. I read a study about that about 6 months ago, and this talking about like this one physician did it, and he took like 25 milligrams to blunt
Yeah.
that what you were talking about, that fogginess at like 3 a.m. on his shifts and whatnot. And so that's actually brilliant. And then the other thing that I watched you do was you quit caffeine a month before the race, right? Or 3 weeks or something like that. I thought
Yeah.
did you not?
Yeah. No, I quit caffeine, and I don't know how much quitting caffeine going cold turkey helps. I think what I did was a bit excessive. You could probably get away with doing a week before, but I just love the feeling of, you get that first hit of caffeine after you've been fully detoxed and it actually works. Because like right now, like I'm so fried on caffeine and whatnot that like at work I'll like have coffee when I go in the morning and I'll be like, wow, that was like drinking water.
Yeah. So what are your shifts like at your job? How many
Yeah, so
hours, like how many days a week?
yeah, so I do 5/8 and then I'm on call most nights. And so most of our docs are pretty good. They don't like to work in the middle of the night. I don't work at a trauma center, so that's kind of been a nice change for me. And so if we have to work on call, it's usually we're just working late to finish a case, and that's been great.
Nice. So
Yeah.
how would you like, because your job is more physically demanding than mine. I mean, because you're on your feet. Like, do you think that Like, cause I was like thinking about this and I'm like, cause like I try to do my stuff, kind of try to, do the healthcare angle, like, for my peeps, my, my nurses and medics and whatnot. Cause like, I just think that this sport is so great for people that work, do the line of work we do, just for your mind
Yeah,
and like, I just look around, I get so angry, not like mad, but like almost like a sad in a sense when I look
yeah,
around and I just see how unhealthy the people are that are taking care of other people. And my
yeah,
thing is like, you can't, and I don't want to, I don't really care if I offend anybody, to be honest, because I truly believe this is that you can't truly take care of somebody else if you can't take care of yourself.
yeah.
And I don't know. I always just thought it was like people that do like this. I mean, if you're on your feet all day, that counts as time on feet, in my opinion. So, like, I'm like, hey, nurses and people that are walking around hospitals, that's like training almost. I think it
Yeah.
helps rather than sitting in a chair all day.
Yeah. No, for sure. And yeah, it's just like I love my coworkers and stuff, and I'm always trying to encourage them to. They're just like, I could never run a marathon or do whatnot. I'm just like, you don't have to. Just,
Mm-mm.
they get
No.
excited about their 10,000 steps a day challenge or whatever, and I'm just like, do that. Just do something that like you're passionate about and that ignites you and kind of keeps you out the door. You don't have to do what I do to be healthy. Arguably, what we're doing, this is unhealthy. This
Yeah.
is you're past
Yeah.
the point of doing this to better yourself.
Yeah. I'd have to agree with that. I do agree with that. And I always say, I'm like, you don't do what I do. You don't have to go out there and run 100s. Yeah, but I totally agree with that. But just, yeah, I don't know. Just from working in it for as long as I mean I have, it's just like it's just I haven't seen. I don't know. I guess I want to ask you, like, what do you think? What do you think like we could do to kind of push people or start or like advance the movement of like, hey, we need to get healthier and as a nation for one, but like how do we influence others that we work with to try to live healthier lives, not run ultras, but just like
Yeah,
eat better, do something active, you know what I mean? Because that's what I'm kind of stuck on, is like what is the way, how could we help?
yeah. I think it's our job as like as runners and stuff is just to encourage the people around us to, take the extra step. I think like the little changes you can make have massive compounding effects. Like taking the stairs as opposed to like taking the elevator could be a big one. Going for a walk after work, that's great for your health in terms of like being able to decompress from, a crazy shift at work. And it's also, if you make it a family thing, I think the biggest thing is like to make things stick, you have to make them community events because if you're just going and like walking on like your walk pad and whatnot, I think it's great that you're doing that, but also like eventually the boredom of it is just gonna like win and you're not gonna keep doing it. So getting outside and like nature is healing. If you can get outside with your family and just go for a walk around the neighborhood in the evenings, I think that's the best thing for you. It's healing for, for you physically. It's also healing for you as a family because then it's like an activity you can do as a family unit, and that's great. Um, um, but yeah, just kind of and just encouraging people where they're at to make little changes because I think people get overwhelmed with the idea of fitness, thinking it's an all or nothing pursuit, and it's really not. It's just doing, you know, one thing a little bit different each day. And it's not always a step forward. Sometimes it's kind of like right now after Cocodona, my body is so fried that like I'm taking a dip in my fitness, but that's part of the process. I'm trying to recover. I'm not trying to like speed through this recovery phase. I'm just going to take it easy for a minute and then we're going to get back to training and back to regular scheduled programming. But, you just can't, you know, back to what we keep saying, like don't overthink it, just do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a problem. I mean, not it's not a problem, but I think people see all the stuff on social media and they think that what you do happens like you just have it. And I don't think people truly like that are outside of the sport truly understand that you just don't go from doing nothing to running even 50K. Like
Yeah,
that takes years, and so I guess that when people ask me about it, I'm like, there was a time where a 5K was a long ways for me, and there's nothing wrong. I mean, like, running a 5K is awesome. There's not, I mean, statistically speaking, there's not a lot of people that can run a 5K. I mean, even a
yeah,
10K. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
and I can't stand that in a sport where people are like, "Oh, I just run 5Ks." I'm like, "Well, good for you. That's awesome. That's an achievement, right?"
yeah,
I don't know, but yeah, I guess that's kind of where I stand with it. It's just like I love how you said it. It's one like 1% better every day, right? So
yeah.
so what's next on the horizon? What do you going what do you got left for the year?
Oh boy. I kind of did myself dirty and kind of loaded things up. So, in in June, I got Denali 135, June 21st. In
Right.
July, I have Summit 200 at the end of July. And then in October, I've got Black Forest 100K. And
Dude,
then
you're
who
a
knows?
beast. Is
I'll
Denali? Where's Denali? Is
Alaska.
that in Alaska? Oh wow. That's gonna be oh my gosh, that's gonna be epic. Have you been up there before? Have you done that one? Nice. Funny story about Denali. So last year, my uncle was up there on a cruise, for I think he for the casino, and my aunt was up there. She left like 5 days later. I don't even I think they knew they were going to be up there, but at the same time, but that they're hiking up Denali and they walked down the same path and just ran into each other unbeknownst. So it's kind of crazy, like how big Denali is, and they just walk into each other, on two separate
And
vacations. But
that's how they met? Or
yeah, well, no, that like they didn't know that each other were up there, and like all of a sudden they're
oh,
walking
cool.
down a path in Denali, and they're like, "Dave, Mimi," they're like, "What the heck? You're up here?" Yeah, so it's kind of weird, and I'm like, Denali's just enormous from what I've heard, but their pictures that they posted were just, I mean, unbelievable. So that's gonna be
Yeah,
awesome. Can't wait to
yeah,
follow that.
it's gonna be a wild adventure. I can't wait.
That dude, you're a beast, man. That's crazy to think that you run Cocodona and then a month later, "Oh, I'm just gonna go up to Alaska and run 135 miles." So, and then Summit, because where's Summit at?
Summit is in like Breckenridge, Colorado, so not too far from Ouray.
Oh yeah. Oh. So yeah, you're up there. That's an altitude race.
Oh yeah. I think the lowest point is 9,000 feet. Highest point is 12,000, 1250.
So so what do you so what's your strategy for going out there? Because I'm assuming you can't take like 2 weeks off and go out there and acclimate.
No, that would be nice. I don't know. We'll just kind of go out and do it. And then by the time I finish the race, I'll be acclimated. I don't I don't put too
Brilliant,
much pressure
brilliant
on that one.
plan.
That race for me is more of like I won it the inaugural year. And me and another lady are like streakers out there. So we
Oh,
just do it every year. So it's to me, it's like a big homecoming, a big get together of a bunch of trail friends, and we just kind of go out and have fun. Um,
so when is
so
that one? What are the
that one's
dates of that one?
it's like end of July. I can't remember the specific dates, but end of July,
Oh,
kind of going into August.
oh man,
But
I'll be gone already. I'm like, oh, I'll pop up if I'm not dead on the
yeah,
mountain. So,
yeah, I had a
but all
buddy who
right,
was
man.
planning to
Well,
do the race.
is he really? What's it? Oh, do you know? Oh,
I
you
had
can
a
tell me off. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it's crazy how you like. The more I kind of like frolic around and talk to people, it's like crazy how interconnected everybody is even on this planet. It's because like you'll talk to one guy and you'll be like, oh, I just talked to that guy and he lives in New Jersey. You know what I mean? And like everybody knows everybody. It's crazy. So I met this one dude on Reddit because I was just posting crap on there about like, oh, because I'm kind of an overthinker myself at things that are unknown. I tend to overanalyze and overthink things. So like for instance, I'm in Dubuque and we don't have technical trail shoes here, right? And so I was told, hey man, you're going to the San Juans, you need to have a technical mountain shoe. And so I'm like, oh, okay. I'm just gonna go down this rabbit hole, or not a rabbit hole, but go down this path of trying to find a mountain shoe. And they don't, I mean, I said, I'm like, you can't find a mountain shoe in Dubuque, Iowa, because it'd be like trying to find a surfboard in Nebraska, right? It's stupid.
Yeah.
Why would they sell like La Sportivas in Dubuque, Iowa? There's no loose spree, you know what I mean? You're not going down 40% grades or whatever. It'd be stupid to have those shoes here. But back to my point, I just spent like 2 weeks of just researching every dang shoe out there. And then you go on and you look, and there's people out there crushing those races in just the, like the least technical shoes.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. That's the kind of person I am, though. It's a fault of mine. Anyways.
Yeah, you'll be fine out there. I mean, you just got to take the descents. Like that's something that I always struggle with because I have the same problem as you. I have no like really long, steep technical descents to practice on. So that's always an area where I lose time. But you just be patient and just stick to the parts of the course that suit that work well towards you. Like there's going to be short runnable sections where it's more level, and then those are the points where you just kind of be like, this is my section, and then own that section. And then during the climbs, like don't stress about the climbs being long and hard. Like that's the point of the climbs. Just don't cook yourself on the climbs. Save something.
Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to going up. I'm not looking forward to going down. Like literally, man, I could just go on a Stairmaster and like the hill repeats that I'm doing here, because I have access to like, I think the steepest hill I'll go up to, if I drive 2 hours north, if you ever get in Wisconsin, go to Devil's Lake. It's beautiful. The Ice Age Trail comes through there. It's awesome. But they got a bluff up there I think I added it up. It's like 480 feet and like 0.2 of a mile. So I'll just hike up and down that. And I love going up it. It's coming down it that's like, oh, this sucks, so.
Yeah.
I don't know. The things we do, man. The things we do. Hey, I just thank you for taking time out of your busy life. And it was great talking with you. Congrats on your Cocodona finish, dude. That's tough. Three in a row. You're going back next year, right?
If the lottery is favorable, well, that's the plan. Got to get my 1,000-mile buckle, Brad.
Yeah, they should. I mean, anybody that's going for 1,000, they should let them right in my opinion. So
I hope so, but we'll see.
All right. So, but good luck to you. I appreciate it. If you want to give a shout out to anything you got going on, go follow Nico, or is it Nicholas Steinbrunner? I'll put a link.
Yeah, Nicholas Steinbrunner on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. I'm also posting on Strava, but that's if you just kind of want to watch me like fumble around my hometown, romp around. But
I get jealous of the Strava. I'm like, man, you're way too fast. Strava on Strava. What did you do Boston in?
I did Boston in 2:46:45.
Yeah.
So we were that was a PR. We were cooking pretty good. That was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Congrats on that too, man. Hell of a spring so far, man. But
yeah, it's been a good ride, but we're gonna make it a hell of a year. That's the goal.
All right, folks, that's a wrap for today. Hey, I just want to thank Nicholas Steinbrunner, Nico, again, for hopping on and chatting with me for the past hour. And you can go find him again on his Instagram. Super cool dude. Very smart. Shows a lot of insights to what he does for his training and whatnot as well. And you can find him again, Nicholas Steinbrunner, Nicholas/Steinbrunner. Super cool name. Anyways, thank you again, Nico. You're the man. Keep crushing it. And I appreciate everybody for tuning in today. And especially if you're on your run or your drive home or if you're at work. Love you all. Be safe. And as always, subscribe to the show, leave a comment, like, whatever, and follow along on my Instagram, UltraRunner, on the gram and on TikTok. You can find me on Facebook too. But appreciate all the love and support. And again, go rip some miles. Love you. Be safe.